the coinage of word self-realization comes from is, if I was to flip those words, is to realize who you really are, is to realize yourself, is to realize this, what the spirit came here to do. Everything is meant to go in the direction that you're meant to go. And even if it doesn't seem like you are, and all the experiences that you experience in life are just going, right? Just nudging you back onto that path. So do become aware of that. The more you put in, the more you get out. So make sure you put in quality energy, quality effort, quality time, and you will reap the benefits.
On today's episode, you have myself, Jatinder with Sifu Lak, and we're going to be dropping some more wisdom bombs. And Sifu Lak, how are you doing this week?
Very well.
Or this day?
Day, a week, the months, the years, they're all good, man. They're all good. Everything's aligning to exactly where it's meant to go. So yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So again, we're going to be referring back to the Art of Thinking Without Thinking book, and we're going to pick a random page and just see what comes up today. So let me just not see. Stop. Okay. No, we've done that one. It was the bamboo principle. We've done that one, so we can't go that one. I think I've creased the book, so I open up at that page, right?
I had a feeling you were going to pick one that we're already going.
So let's try this. You're going to flick it. Stop. Yeah. Let's see where that is. Okay. So innocence is your inner sense.
Do you know what? Funny thing is, I actually opened exactly on that page.
Oh, that's page 632, everybody.
So this is the image.
Look at that.
Innocence is your inner sense. Okay.
Wow.
That's innocence spelled INNOCENCE. So innocence is your inner sense, as in INNER hyphen SENSE. All right, so innocence. There you go. All right, so let me give it a stab.
In the traditional sense, yes. So innocence is your inner sense. Okay, so for me, what comes up is when we talk about children, for example, we always say that children are innocent. You know, they're fresh. They haven't got a sense of necessarily what's right or wrong. Well, they might do, but, you know, in the sense that they go out and just explore and do things. And there's a sense of purity in what they do, right? It's just like the rawness of it. It's not tainted by anything. So in that context, it's like when they're coming from a place of innocence, which is almost like a pure place, it's almost kind of suggesting that it's the inner sense, right? That's their deeper self, I suppose, or the more truer questioning that comes out. That's what I'm getting from this one.
Oh, very good, very good. Your inner sat nav is well so that's really good. That's really good. So you're spot on. Now, I guess we should start at the beginning, really, though, in terms of innocence. Now, the image on this koan is a father holding his young infant son's hand, okay, and they're facing towards a big glade, and in the distance there's a mountain, and with snow-capped peaks. Okay, so
there's a double meaning, that image as well. I would say that you could say that it's like a younger version of yourself and an older version of yourself, right? Like almost like the child within the adult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So each of these images have been carefully handpicked by myself because of exactly what you just said. Is a picture says 1,000 words. So and maybe even more if you spent a reasonable amount of time thinking about a thing, or in this case, not thinking about a thing. And it's exactly that's what's going on here, right? So, but when I say, let's take it to the beginning. The beginning is, before you're born, you choose your experiences that you want in this lifetime to evolve spiritually, right? So you choose your family. They say you choose your parents, you choose the environment, you choose the experiences that environment and that the people within it are going to give you. So when you're born as a baby, you're a spirit in this biophysical body, and that spirit has no connection to the limbs and any of the body functions, right? So babies, they urinate, they defecate unknowingly. They don't know how to use their hands, legs, fingers, toes, nothing, right? Eyes, mouth, nose, ears, muscles. They don't really have any command over any of it. The spirit inside is what's the thing that would give them the essence of life. It has to connect with the organic body around them. Okay, that the spirit is immersed within, and slowly.
And the spirit trying to connect with the material, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. The spirit's connected with the material. If you want to put it that way, that's a beautiful way to put it, actually. And over time, your spirit connects and grows into the body, and the body grows as well. But one of the reasons that we choose to have a physical experience is because it's unlike any other experience in any other realm, right? There is a physical, tangible experience. You can have these sense gratification experiences through taste, through smell, through hearing, through eye, through vision, through kinesthetic, tactile feedback, right? This is something you won't experience in a spiritual domain, because the spiritual domain is devoid of all of that, because it's immaterial. And then you've got the auditory digital, which is the thoughts that you can think as well, which we don't really consider. But the other five, though, the ones I mentioned already, apart from the auditory digital, are physical experiences. Now, as a child, a lot of people, a lot of infants, a lot of babies will have experiences. They'll have visions and dreams and messages and see things. Okay, because they're still connected with that spirit world and haven't really fully connected to the material world, and therefore can see things beyond themselves, beyond what a grown adult will potentially see. That doesn't have a sixth sense, so to speak. And you often see babies talking to somebody in a void corner of a room, and they just wonder, like, who's that baby talking to? Well, there could be an energetic body there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The other aspect is, because you come here with a soul's mission, you have a purpose to fulfill in this lifetime, you're reminded of that. And as you're reminded of that, they will come through in your dreams and your visions, and some of the experiences, and maybe even some of the energetic beings that you'll experience as a child. But as you grow into and connect into the material world and start to enjoy the sense gratification in the material world, in the physical world, slowly your spirit and your material world start to separate. Okay. And as they start to separate, you start to lose sense of that. Okay.
And as you start to lose, they say you forget.
Yeah, you just forget. You forget who you are. And as a consequence, you become like a boat without a rudder and a sail. Okay. You start to drift aimlessly. So the idea, right, is in order to really understand who you are, is to reconnect with your true self. And that whole idea is where the coinage of word self-realization comes from. Is, if I was to flip those words, is to realize who you really are, is to realize yourself, is to realize this, what the spirit came here to do whilst you're in your material body connected to the material world. So then you can realign your actions, your conscious actions, in order to fulfill that soul's mission. Okay. And this is what this innocence is, your inner sense is talking about, is as a child, you're innocent. There's no attachment to anything. There's no nothing. And that innocence, right, is encapsulated. You are it. In order to, when you grow old and detach those two aspects of your being, your spiritual and physical beings, or your immaterial and material beings, in order to reconnect to that, you have to go in to yourself. You have to reconnect with your inner sense. Your inner sense will bring out your innocence, who you originally are. And that's what this is talking about. This is really powerful, guys. I used to always have a dream, and I never understood what it meant. And I thought it was just a dream. And I had this dream for years and years and years. And it was me choosing my parents, and it was me choosing my experiences. And even from a young age, you know, my father, you know, he exposed us to Bruce Lee movies, and something happened. And it's happened to a lot of people, but most definitely I know there was something there. And it wasn't until I was 29 that I realized I had a compulsion to connect with the teachings that Bruce had left behind, not knowing he'd left anything behind, because I didn't know Bruce beyond his 5 main movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know he'd left a catalogue of referential teachings around, annotated teachings around. I didn't know that he'd gone through his own martial process that he called Jeet Kune Do or Jump Fan Kung Fu, and that he'd left that behind. I had none of that. I didn't know any of it. All I knew was there was a compulsion that I had to find it, and I would find something. That was it. My inner compass was guiding me to reconnect with who I really was. And through that, from that moment, everything started falling into place. And then I started to realize everything. And the funny thing is, right at the beginning, you said, how is it going? And I said, you know, the day's going well, the week's going well, the months are going well, the years are going well, and everything's aligning to where I'm meant to be. I said that for a reason, not knowing that this is going to come up, right? Because you just randomly picked this. And I landed on the same page when I literally just opened the book. Is exactly that. Is everything is meant to go in the direction that you're meant to go. And even if it doesn't seem like you are, and all the experiences that you experience in life are just going, right? Just nudging you back onto that path. So do become aware of that. Do start to notice these things as they happen, because they're happening, because they're guiding you right onto your path. Okay. And allow yourself to be free and welcoming to these ideas and notions, if you truly want to kind of ascend this lifetime that you chose, and the lessons within it.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, just in case somebody's thinking like, oh, what do you mean the universe is aligning me? I have to do this and whatnot, the other. The example that comes to mind is that, you know, if you're walking and you see a mountain, right? Now you got kind of two choices. You can either go up the mountain and then come back the other side, or you can go around the mountain to get to the other side, right? So there's like different paths that you could take to get to the end point. And that in a way, that's what's happening with the universe. So you could end up going off track in order to come back on track again, you know? And that's what Lak means about, you know, the universe is nudging you that, hang on a minute, are we going in the right direction? Maybe, maybe not. Look at this. And you'll feel these things. So sometimes you may feel this is making no sense. I'm going nowhere. And sometimes you're in flow, and, you know, and it's all part of the process.
That's right.
The journey.
100%. You know, these I quite often use the phraseology. There are many roads to Edinburgh. Pick one. And we've all got there. You know, when you're trying to connect with your life's purpose, your soul's mission, as I call it, one of the things to really do is to reconnect with your inner child. Okay, reconnect with what really made you, vibrant, with energy, which really made you come to life. What was that thing, or what were those things, right? Because your essential being is within that space, right? And really, we need to look into childhood. Now, sometimes, there's people that have had a traumatic childhood. Sometimes that childhood is trying to teach you that that thing that you suffered is the healing that you need to bring to the world, right? Now, this for those unfortunate beings on this planet that have suffered during childhood, just think about that for a moment, okay? And I want you to own that shit, right? I want you to really kind of embrace that and turn that around, because if you've got through it, you've got an onus not to let that perpetuate, okay? And that's your teaching, right? And so take that as you will, and if you now sow that seed and nurture it by applying water and sunshine, it will grow, okay? And it will grow and flourish into a beautiful flower with a beautiful fragrance, and you can spread that fragrance out into the world, right? Or you can choose to ignore it and not grow anything, right? In fact, just leave it as a void, right, in the soil, and nothing will grow out of it. And therefore, you're not going to grow up and out of it as a consequence of that. So, something to think about, food for thought, as they say, where trauma is concerned. And it appears in lots of different ways, shapes, and forms. But trauma is trauma, okay? Trauma is traumatizing by its very nature of what it is. So, if you don't want that to happen to others, and if you don't want that to perpetuate, you are the person that's going to break the cycle on it. So, something to think about.
Definitely. I mean, it's a very deep point, because you will get people listening and say, like you said, the trauma people go through is unfortunate, it's sad, and obviously nobody wishes it on anyone. But we also know that when people have gone through something, if they've overcome it, they've gone on to make a massive impact on the lives of others, far greater than anybody else that could have done it. Yeah. Right. And all of a sudden, that person sees that their bad fortune is like the biggest blessing they could have given to humanity and whatnot. So we don't always know the meaning, the reason, or anything behind it. But if we could tune into it and find like that element that we could potentially utilize to help others with,
yeah,
you just never know what you're going to do with your life. You just never know what's going to happen, right? That's right. That's a hopeful place to be in.
And the other thing for people that might think, well, what the fuck do you know, right? Well, actually, I do know, because I've actually helped people turn their lives around, and not just a handful of people, many people over the last couple of decades, right? And they've done exactly what you just said, JT. They've gone out into the world and they've helped innumerable number of people, right? In other words, they are making a positive impact on a wider scale, on a larger platform, to a larger number of people, right? Initiating that change. To add to that, I also want to mention Louise Hay, okay? Because she's written a book called Love Yourself. And she's written many books, and she's actually one of the largest personal development book publishers in the world, US based, but in the world. Now, Louise Hay, if you read her life story, I think in the book Love Yourself, she talks about how she also suffered a lot of trauma as a child, right, up until the age of 16 in America, when she lived in America. And she left home at 16, but up until that point, she was regularly raped, sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused, that when she left the house at 16, she absolutely hated herself because of what she'd experienced. All the love was beaten out of her through all of that abuse, okay? Until one day where she realized that in order to move forward, she needed to learn to love herself. And that was the thing that was absent in her life. And her whole life changed when she realized how she needed to reintroduce love into her life so that she could then realign her body, her mind, her emotions, her soul, and her spirit. Okay. Once she done that, all of a sudden, things started to change on a massive scale. And now she's one of the most successful publishers in the world. And anybody who's anybody in the personal development world knows her or has written through her publishing house or she works with in some way, shape, or form, and will cross paths with her at some point. So, it just goes to show that she went from rags to riches, not just monetary, right? This is physical richness. This is mental richness. This is emotional richness and spiritual richness. And
service to others.
And yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And this is exactly what the point I was just about to say is she's done that through helping others to heal from the things that she suffered, because she knows the process. She's embodiment of that process. She understands it. And then she's then facilitated that transformational change for others through her own suffering and through her own life lessons, because that's what her gift was. Gift, you think, how can that be a gift? It's so traumatizing. It's so, horrifying. Well, what I would encourage my listeners and viewers on this podcast to do is go study these people, right? Go study these people and listen to their stories, absorb, assimilate, understand what they're saying, and you'll get it. Okay. You'll get it. But if you're in complete denial, then anything and everything that I've said will be just bullshit, okay, to you. and I will strongly recommend that you do go and do that homework, right, for yourself. Okay, if you want to break that cycle, if you want to rise above that, and then really see what your soul's purpose is, your soul's mission is, because you will. I challenge you to do that, because that's the only way you're going to get better. That's the only way you're going to heal. One of the koans is hurt people, healed people, heal people. And quite often people that have suffered and or have been traumatized, especially during childhood, will just perpetuate that. This is the whole cycle of bullies, right? Bullies are usually bullied themselves, right? So the thing that they lack the most is control. So they exercise that control over somebody else by bullying somebody else, and that manages to fill a void, right? To heal and not be in a space where you need control in that way is the process of healing. And once you've healed that, then you can help others start to avoid falling into that trap and to break out of that cycle of bullying. Okay. But again, these cycles, these patterns are the same, because fundamentally, as human beings, right, our processes work the same, right, for the most people, right, for the majority of people, right, unless you've got something fundamentally different, okay.
In which case, definitely seek out the right type of guidance, medication, right people, connect with the right type of people to get that help.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So, there's somebody that's gone through what you're going through and come out the other side, ascended, elevated, right? And now a model of excellence for you. Seek that person, right? And seek those teachings, make sure they're qualified and experienced and understand that, so that they can also impact that change on you. But you have to be the one that takes charge, right? You have to be the one that first says, yes, I'm going to make a decision to change this. I don't no longer want to live with this shit, right? I want to change my life. I'm going to make a decision right now to do that, right? So as I say, all help, all help is self-help, okay? So you have to be willing to help yourself, right? And when you do that, then you can surrender yourself to somebody that's got the experience to take you through that process to help you heal. All right. So that's probably the most powerful thing out of this. And again, it's really getting you back to your innocence as a child, who you really are, and allowing you to reconnect with your inner sense. Did you want to add anything to that, JT?
I was just gonna say that people might be saying, well, what else can we do in order to tap into that? And we've spoken about this before, saying that meditation is always a good idea. Going out, connecting with friends, communities, a good idea. Something that can put you in that space where it's a good space. Something that could put you in a good mental space, because one of the things that people may or may not be aware about is that in our brain, anything that happens is a chemical reaction. We're actually addicted to chemicals in our body, right? Because when you get happy, you get happy chemicals. When you get sad chemicals, and the chemicals have an effect on your body. So the idea is that what can we do to balance out those chemicals, right? So if you're sad, what could you do to be happy, basically? If you're happy, obviously you don't want to be sad, but what can you do to neutralize, be in a balanced state? So it's good to seek these things. So go, definitely do exercise, go enjoy your conversations, eat good food, connect with people, meditate, anything that you can do to change your state, to create a chemical reaction in the body is a good way. And one of the things that Lax always talks about is, movement, body, because martial arts is a brilliant thing for that. Go join a martial art class, learn, take out your frustration on the punching bag. Why not? What's wrong with that, right? But obviously exercise control or martial control when you're sparring with others as an example. So definitely seek out, I think for a lot of us, martial arts was a massive discipline point, because the funniest thing was when we learned to fight, we didn't want to fight. It was just weird. I remember one of my instructors once asking me, when he said that when I was doing martial arts, and he said, all right, you've achieved this level, what does that mean to you? And I was like, it's like the art of fighting without fighting, isn't it? Right? So definitely I was just going to say that, do something different, change that state. Dance if it makes you happy, do something that can help you get out the state and then come from a nice place to think forward. So almost get present and conscious, and then, come from a good space. One thing when I was learning like the whole NLP kind of stuff, they were talking about chemical reactions, and the instructor was saying about how if you're going to make a decision about something, try not to make a decision from a bad state. Right. So go do something, put yourself in a good mood, change that state, and then think about that thing. And then, then take some sort of action on it, because you're probably going to have all the good juices floating around in the body, which allows you to do something in a more constructive way than a more destructive way, So just wanted to share that really.
No, that's wicked, because Dr. Napoleon Hill also said, never make a decision in a valley. Always make a decision when you're on the peak. Right. So, that's basically saying what you're saying, just using different words. And sometimes different words saying the same thing click with people in different ways. So, is good for us to say the same things in different ways, because it will resonate with people, and people will be able to see the outcome, or they'll be able to feel it, and how it's going to work. So use what works, guys. And this, in martial arts as well, even in my martial arts school, our mantra on the back of our t-shirts, first of all, that we've got the Bruce Lee saying, the art of fighting without fighting, because ultimately when you don't want to. But the other part of it is our mantra is really making it work. right? Whatever you do, you've got to make it work, whether it's combative, whether it's creative, right? You've got to make it work, right? You've got to make it work, because there's no point learning something that isn't going to work. Why? Because you're not training it properly, you're not listening, you're not paying attention, right? You're not practicing in your own time, you're not doing any homework, right? You've got to make it work. So if you're on a journey of self-healing, make it work, right? Choose the thing, the path, or the people that you're going to seek good counsel from, right? That have made it work. So that they can help you make it work for you, right? But then go do the work. Don't think it's going to happen. There's no magic pill. There's no blue pill, red pill business here, right? You've got to go do the work, man. You have to do the work. So make sure you invest your energy. And guess what? The other thing I like to say is the more you put in, the more you'll get out, right? Yeah. The more you put in, the more you get out. So make sure you put in quality energy, quality effort, quality time, and you will reap the benefits. Okay. So invest of yourself. Bruce Lee called this, when you're investing yourself into something, he had this beautiful statement, which he called, according to words, emotional content. He called it emotional content. Now, if I throw a punch, okay, my arm and my hand is not the punch. My whole body is the punch. Every cell of my being is the punch. Okay, I become the punch. I'm emotionally, right, embodying myself as the punch. Okay, so when you do something, you become it. Okay, so become it.
Become it, absolutely. And I just wanted to say that what Lax is sharing there about, make it work. I mean, if you look at it, that is a martial mind power element, right? Because the whole point of this is awakening the warrior within. What's that drive inside you that says, you know what, let's do this. Let's do this. That is the warrior element, isn't it? So, tapping into that, just staying committed and going for it, but with the view that you need to be able to pivot when you need to be able to pivot, because it's ridiculous to think you're going to be able to charge through a wall when you can walk around it, right? So it's that kind of state. So having the capacity to self-discipline, stay strong, keep going for it, as Lax said, right? And just bring that martial warrior element out of yourself, utilize it in everyday life.
Absolutely. So, coming back to this, innocence is your innocence. I think this is a good time to read the koan, right? So
absolutely.
So it reads like this: when you are born, you have no command of your newborn body. You are simply a spirit inside a baby's body, still connected to your light body, yet bridging into the material body and world. This is my definition of innocence in its purest spiritual and material forms. Many people had weird and wonderful recollections of thoughts and sensations from when they were babies, but lost the ability to make sense of them over time and simply forgot. This is because as you start to master your body by learning how to walk and talk, you slowly become attached to the wonderful sensory experiences this material existence offers. As we embody the material body, we slowly forget our light body, and with age, we lose our innocence. The only way to reconnect to our innocence, our light body, whilst being in the material body, is to develop an inner sense. This is when you have to go within to go without.
There you go. That's an amazing one. I mean, do you remember that little meme that came out where just before lockdown, when it said, if you can't go out, go within?
Yes.
Exactly. Same thing, isn't it?
Exactly. That is it. That is it. We should make more memes. That's
definitely. Oh wow, that's amazing, Sifu Lak. I mean, that kind of explains it all, I feel. And before we finish off, is there anything else you wanted to add? Or
just make some time to connect and discover that innocence, to reveal that innocence, and within that you'll reveal the innocence. Okay, your true soul's mission. But do make time. And if you don't know how to meditate, you can join our digital dojo on dojo.martialmindpower.com. If you put that in your browser, it'll take you there. We've got over 50, 60 meditations in there at the moment, at the current time. And you can learn how to meditate. You can learn how to connect. And if you haven't mentioned that before, I apologize. But we've been throughout the whole pandemic running meditations, and really powerful. And you'll also be able to see some of the insights some of the participants also got as a consequence of that. And you'll see how it's some of the students that are practicing having revelations. Okay, and this is it. This is the essence of connecting. So you can use that as a resource, and that's a really deep, powerful resource. Okay, so do use that, or you can go to anybody else that'll be able to guide you effectively. Okay, mindfulness, just so the viewers and listeners know, is what I would call the preparatory stages to meditation. Okay, the whole idea of meditation is to connect to spirit. Okay, the meaning of yoga is to connect to spirit. The physical yoga allows you to sit in a meditative position for a prolonged period of time, so you can meditate without feeling aches and pains and being uncomfortable, which will break you out of the meditative state. So all physical yogas are designed for you to sit prolonged periods of time, for you to meditate, and the actual work is to connect to source, connect to your spirit, connect to your higher self, and connect to your inner sense. Okay, and that's where that work has to be done. Right. Ultimately, there are other modalities and tools you can use. Okay, but the one that's most accessible to you is that. And the one that you could do in your own time and space, right? And it costs zero, right? Is that, but you need to learn that first. So to learn that, you can join things like our digital dojo that will help you with that, or you can go to any other meditation teacher that will be able to guide you on that. Okay. Now, when you go to a meditation teacher, my advice would be go to somebody that's spiritually awake. Okay. You can't be led by someone towards your inner sense that is not connected to their own inner sense. All right. So that's going to be my number one, okay, piece of advice. It's like you wouldn't go to a dentist that isn't a qualified dentist. You wouldn't go to a doctor that isn't a qualified doctor. You won't go to a mechanic that isn't a qualified mechanic. Although there might be a lot of mechanics that aren't qualified out there, right? But you get the idea. Same with the building and the plumbing trade and so on, right? But now there's qualifications around those. So, if you were going to employ someone to build an extension in your house or to build an outhouse or whatever, right? You want somebody that's qualified, that that is going to build something that is going to be built to the highest standard possible. And gives you value for money, right? Similarly, you want to go to somebody that's accredited, somebody that's, accomplished in that field, right? So think about that and choose wisely, okay? Choose wisely, because a person cannot give you something that they already don't have, okay? So you must go to somebody that has it in the first place so that they can show you the way, you can give it to you, all right? So in this space, right, meditation and the subtle arts, almost as if it were, is one of those areas which is very gray, okay? Very gray. So seek well, and as I say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So, you will find the person that you want, but make sure that you have strong intention of what you want to achieve, what outcome you want to realize. And that outcome should be to connect to your inner sense, to awaken your inner sense so you can connect to your innocence, right? As in your true self, discover your soul's mission, right? So
absolutely, man.
Hopefully that helps.
No, definitely. Thank you for sharing that, Sifu Lak. As Sifu said, mind, body, and spirit, it's there in martial arts, it's there in general, yoga, meditation. It's been there for ages. So all we're trying to do is just say, look, it is mind, body, and spirit. Bring those three elements together, and you might find it to be really useful. And today's obviously topic was taken from The Art of Thinking Without Thinking. If you guys are interested, do check it up on Amazon. Make your way over to martialmindpower.com. There's a whole range of things there, as Lak said. And on that note, we thank you and we'll join you on the next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.